Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole Beurkens here with another family-friendly tech tip. Have you watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix yet? It's a documentary that raises awareness about the dangers of social media and social networking for all humans, kids and adults. And in it, technology experts, many of whom were instrumental in developing the platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Google, all of those kinds of things that we use day in and day out, they speak candidly about the very real problems that these social media sites are causing in people, and also share their fears about what's going to happen to humanity if our relationship with technology, and particularly with these social media kinds of platforms, doesn't change. Another part of the film is that it follows a family with three preteen, teenage, young adult children through parts of their day, showing how social media impacts the kids, their relationships, and their mental health. I watched The Social Dilemma recently with my family, including my kids who are between the ages of 14 and 20. And I highly recommend that families with children in probably the middle school and up age range watch it together as well. Here were some of the key takeaways for me. The first is that these tech experts do not allow their kids to use these platforms or to have much time on electronics at all. They are really aware of the dangers and concerned enough about it to not expose their own children, which says a lot to me. The second takeaway is that these platforms are way more addictive than we realize. And even as a professional who talks a lot about this, the film really helped me to better understand the addictive nature of them and how they really tap into those parts of our brain that keep us coming back for more and more and more, and that they're designed to be that way. They capitalize on our fear of missing out, on our interest in novelty, our desire to avoid boredom or anxiety or other uncomfortable feelings. And they do that by providing a constant flow of updated content, notifications, things like that, that keep us coming back for more, even when we know that we have better things to do with our time. As one of the experts in the film said, he knows full well that these platforms are designed to keep him addicted and coming back. And he still really, really struggled with pulling away and not constantly checking his devices and his feeds and things like that. The third takeaway for me is that these apps are designed to continue feeding us information that keeps us in a bubble of only consuming what they serve to us. And they utilize elaborate artificial intelligence formulas to constantly serve up videos, posts, memes, links that are related to content that we've consumed before. And what happens then is it causes us to have the sense that the world revolves around a very limited amount of information, opinions, perspectives. And it really is at the heart of what we're seeing around the world right now, and especially in the US, with the amount of divisiveness, hatred, and even frankly dangerous misinformation and manipulation of facts. The other thing that really struck me about the film was regarding the family that they featured throughout. Two of the children were clearly experiencing distress and problematic behaviors and thoughts around their constant consumption of social media. The parents in the film seemed to have some level of concern about this, but essentially did nothing to address it. And I suspect that the point they were trying to make is that parents feel overwhelmed by it, but that when they stand idly by and don't do anything, that kids can easily get sucked into this dysfunction online, and that has consequences. What I would have preferred is if they would have focused a bit more on solutions that parents can use. At one point in the film, the mother decides that they're going to have a device-free dinner in an attempt to have them eat without distractions. She gets this jar with a lock on it and locks all of their phones up at the start of the meal. Their preteen daughter gets so distressed by this that she literally goes over, breaks the jar with a hammer to get her phone out, and runs upstairs. And she's later shown to be struggling greatly with images of body issue, depressed thoughts, relationship issues with her peers at school. And I really want parents to see that this highlights the consequences of allowing kids to have unfettered access to these platforms, but also to know that there are solutions available. You are not at the mercy of whatever your kids want to do or choose to do with their devices. this raises the really important point that as parents, we need to be in a certain amount of control over what happens with these devices when we have minor children living in our home. So a few things that I would offer to parents is to utilize the screen time and parental control features that come installed on devices. That was a point that was not made in the film, but I think really would have been a good point for them to make, that despite all of the dangers and those things, there have been efforts on the part of device manufacturers and app developers to include more options for parents to have some oversight and control, and we need to be using those. I also strongly recommend that parents are installing and using third-party apps like Qustodio, which is the one that we use in my home and that I recommend at my clinic, to give you a simpler way of managing and monitoring those things across multiple devices for multiple kids, and to be aware of what your kids are doing and to spur important conversations about healthy online use. And that really gets to the third important piece, which is to be in communication with your kids regularly about what they're seeing and doing online, how social media is affecting them, what are they noticing about the impacts, what are you noticing about those impacts. And in having that communication, you can work together to mitigate problems, to come up with solutions to the issues that they're having. The other piece is to not just give up and assume that once you give your child one of these devices, this is just the way that it is and it's going to be a problem. I really encourage you to watch the film and become aware of the risks and the harm that's being done, but then take clear, responsible action on a consistent basis to help your kids learn how to utilize tech in a healthy way, because that's the reality. We're living in a tech-focused world, and we need to help our kids find healthy ways to engage. So not controlling in a way that takes away device use or is unrealistic with that, but says, let's learn how to instill habits to live in healthy ways so that we are using technology. Technology is not using us. So those were my takeaways and perspectives on the film. I hope you found it helpful, and I really encourage you to watch The Social Dilemma if you have not seen it yet. If you have, I'd love for you to leave a comment letting me know what you thought, what your takeaways were, and if you haven't, then put it on your list of something to do with your family soon. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.